There we go. History. I think it was this one. Yep. 1 second though. I don't know if I can play this or not. Yeah, I don't think I can play this. Give me 1 second though. Yeah, it'll smooth them back out. There we go. Can't hear anything. Something's going on. You can't hear anything. I don't know what is going on with this. Let's go to this one. Maybe this one's over. Maybe they muted it because of the music. Sorry, guys. I got to keep it quiet for a second. Yeah, I don't think I'm allowed to play the music without getting copyrighted. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing this afternoon? I had to mute it for a second because we're just playing music, and I think I can get a copyright strike for that. Yeah, I'm almost positive I can get a copyright strike if I let it play for too long. How's everybody doing today? That was so funny.
Are you the gayest guy ever? Dude, the transportation sucks. Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete, you suck. Mayor Pete.
Wait, why am I
Mayor
not
Pete, you're the worst ever, Mayor Pete. You suck at your job. The transportation sucks. Boeing is crashing. Dude, Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg. So, did you see I ran into the Transportation Secretary, Pete Buttigieg? Yeah, you can take this off. Everything's safe now.
Thank you.
Did you see that I ran into the Transportation Secretary, the gayest guy in America?
I did. I saw that.
You see all the planes are crashing, bridges are collapsing. What other bad things are happening? I'm trying to think in transportation.
Lots. It's a lot. There's a lot.
Well, the Boeing whistleblowers keep dying.
Yeah, we know that. I mean, it's saying, I just said
That's
Boeing.
crazy.
I mean, Boeing's like literally killing people. He's not doing anything. Look at this. 10 more whistleblowers are coming out. And everybody knows that the original whistleblower did not kill himself because he was wearing a Tommy Bahama shirt. Nobody has ever committed suicide in a Tommy Bahama shirt. I'm telling you, and I talked to law enforcement. They've never gone to a crime scene and seen a guy like with a gun blowing out his brains in a Tommy Bahama. So it's impossible. So we know it's an inside job. What do you think about our transportation? You fly a lot. Are you nervous about flying?
You know, I've never been nervous about flying in my life. I love flying, but ever since all this has been happening, you know, you get on a Southwest flight, it's a 737, you think about it. I've never thought about disastrous things happening on planes, honestly, the whole time I've ever flown, and now it's all of a sudden a thing.
Well, I was just a part of a Blaze original documentary about PPP loans.
What's up, guys? How you doing this afternoon?
Before that is about the
Or this
FAA
evening,
and air
depending
traffic
on where you're
controllers
at.
that are incorporating DEI. That's right. If you're like a white male right now, seriously, this is not conspiracy. We're about to, I think the documentary comes out in 2 weeks, I believe. But right now, if you're, since they have such a DEI slanted program, if you fill out the form and you say you're white, you're basically ineligible from the start.
Yeah.
From being an air traffic controller.
Yep.
That's very scary.
It is scary. It's scary that something that serious and related to public safety is being based on anything but a meritocracy.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I just want the best person or a person that's dedicated to their job. I don't care if they're their color of their skin. I don't care if it's a black guy. I just want it to be like a guy that actually cares about his job. But sadly, like they were talking about how there's people that go into work and they've like been dumped by their wife or like their wife cheated on them and they're like depressed and emotional. So if you've ever gone through a breakup or something bad happened, a pet dies, you know, you're depressed, you're not going to perform at work that great. But sadly, there's the margin of error as an FAA controller is very small.
Right.
I don't want to die on a plane.
Alex, the people are dying to know. Walk us through how you found Secretary Pete
It's funny. I was just telling my buddy Will this the other day, and he said no.
and what the aftermath was.
You might have to take an AIDS test too.
No, I don't have to take an AIDS test. No, the aftermath was really scary. I should have got more content, but if you watch our YouTube clip, it was very scary because I go and I confront him and I'm like in a good mood, even though I just said he sucks. You know, I was a little out of line. I could have been crazier. I could have been, you know, more demure and had a little more class and respect. But as soon as I'm done, I'm laughing. I'm sitting across from the terminal, or excuse me, from my gate. It was A4. I'm sitting at like A6, and I'm just looking and I'm laughing, right? And the Secret Service, they walk up to me once Pete Buttigieg, once everybody boards the plane and they close the door, all of a sudden, I think the Secret Service is not going to mess with me because he was the first one on the plane. Then it took about 10 minutes after that, maybe 15 before they closed the door. And so I'm looking at him and no Secret Service, no cops walk up to me. So I think I'm in the clear. Then all of a sudden the Secret Service guy starts walking up to me. And he's like this scary looking Asian guy. And somebody said in the comments that Asian guy actually at one point was protecting Joe Biden. But I didn't know that at the time. So he comes up to me. Like, how you doing, sir? I'm like, I'm doing okay. I'm going viral on the internet. And then literally, and the cop goes, well, you caused a disturbance in a private, on private property. We might have some issues. Can you give us your identification? And immediately, I didn't even give him my identification. I just got up, I stopped filming, and I went to the bathroom. And I went in the stall, and I pretended like I was going number 2 because I didn't know what to do. I wanted to call my attorney. Like, you know, I wasn't under arrest at the time. And I was scared to death. And basically, it just ended with them following me to the bathroom. Went in there, sat in the bathroom for about 30 minutes, and then they were gone by the time I got out. So I didn't go to jail today.
That's good. That was quick thinking. There's not really a guide for, you know, what to do after that encounter. So
I know, and the Secret Service is scary. Now they definitely know. I'm already on a list, but
It's so funny.
my name is higher on that list now. So I'm a little worried about my safety, and I don't want
points.
Yeah, I don't want to go to jail. Pete Buttigieg. And you know, did we ever post that video? What's his boyfriend's name? Like Chasten or something?
Chasten. We posted it on your Twitter, but we never posted it on YouTube.
Cool.
Well, I confronted his husband at his speaking engagement one time.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's like beef between me and the booty juices, and I just.
Me and the
He'd
booty
love to see me
juices.
locked up. He'd be so happy. Him and his boyfriend would be kissing at a romantic dinner, like, we got Alex Stein, yeah! And then they would be doing, you know what, something weird. Not that there's anything wrong with that, YouTube. We love it. Everything's gay. Everybody should be gay.
Everything's
Speaking of
gay.
that, I was a little offended because you tell me I'm the gayest guy alive every single show, and then you go and tell P. Buttigieg that he's the gayest guy alive. So what's the truth?
You're gayer than Pete Buttigieg.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Pete Buttigieg.
I love it. Let's see. See, they're just still listening to music, and I can't play that, so we can just watch someone else for now. How you guys all doing today? I appreciate you stopping by. If you haven't yet, please make sure to hit that like for me.
Ladies and gentlemen. Sean Duffy, right-hand side of the screen. Sean, looks like Trump's just running away with it at this point, and we're getting very close to the election. What do you say?
We'll see.
You know, Stu, my take was excellent because momentum for Trump means voter enthusiasm on Election Day, right? That's the power of the voting base wanting to go out and vote for their candidate. And when you don't have to spend money on getting people to the polls because they're going to do it themselves because they want to vote for their candidate, that's much easier for campaigns. Where if you don't have enthusiasm for someone like Joe Biden, the amount of resources, the man hours, and the dollars spent trying to get your voters to the polls, it's much more challenging. So, by the way, my wife Rachel for Fox and Friends went out to the Bronx yesterday and expected to see a 50-50 kind of split between Trump and Biden. She thought 90% of the people there were supportive of Trump in a deep blue part of New York, which goes to your point that Donald Trump is only down by 9 points in New York. You got that right. That is amazing. It shows how bad Joe Biden is, but that Donald Trump is actually talking to the average American who has been forgotten for so long, and someone's listening to them, and they love it. Even though the Democrats, they love Trump for talking to them and thinking about them and wanting to work for them.
Yeah, it's
I love
different
it.
there. Nikki Haley says she's voting for Trump in November. Roll tape.
Damn, she's not the brightest crayon in the box, or I don't know any other term. You know, I know other terminologies, but none are coming to mind. But at least she's willing to do that.
As a voter, I put my priorities on a president who's going to have the backs of our allies and hold our enemies to account.
That's okay, bro. You could listen. You're more than welcome to feel however you feel and think whatever you think. It's not a problem to me at all, bro. I appreciate you coming by regardless. You trolling actually helps me try and get in the algorithm more, so I don't mind it at all. I appreciate it. Can you make sure to hit the like for me, or if you want, I guess the dislike if you don't like it.
Would secure the border, no more excuses. A president who would support capitalism and freedom.
So let me ask you, Vaughn, who do you vote? Who are you voting for this coming election? We got Trump, Biden, and I guess you can say RFK. Who do you plan on voting for? We'll let this one.
A president who
So are you just gonna sit out this election, Vaughn? That mean is that what you're saying? You're not voting for anybody? Yeah, I feel like maybe these. It's okay. So the first time I ever voted, I'm pretty sure I told you guys this. I voted for Obama. The second time I ever voted, I couldn't. You always vote, okay? I couldn't vote, so I voted for Big Bird. the second time, because I think I looked it up and they said he was the most non-real person to get voted for or something. So I gave him another vote, and then the first time I voted for Obama. The first time I couldn't vote for him. The second time, and then I voted for Trump 2016 and voted for him again in 2020.
Understands we need less debt, not more debt. Trump has not been perfect on these policies. Biden has been a catastrophe. So I will be voting for Trump.
Okay, I will be voting for Trump. That's not.
So let me ask you, Vaughn, when you vote and you say you do write down these notes, what do you think the reaction is of the people who read it?
Quite an endorsement, Sean, but will it be enough for Haley voters to vote for Trump? Crossover. How much of it's going to happen?
Yeah, my
Maybe
view on
who
this
else
story
is
is
she
that
gonna
this
vote for?
doesn't move the needle at all, right? She's not going to drive, I think, more voters to Donald Trump. I think the flip side, had she endorsed Joe Biden, that would have made hay for Democrats to drive more independent voters to Joe Biden. Again, the narrative would have been big for Democrats. So I don't think this is moving the needle. I think what's happening here, Stuart, is she's trying to preserve her reputation in Republican Party politics, trying to make
That's
up for
great.
the tough race she ran against Donald Trump.
Have you? So you say you always vote. Have you ever voted for a real candidate, or do you always just write in one?
Well, the mean thing she said, because she wants to come back in 4 years and get the Republican nomination. And this is one olive branch she's extending to the Trump voter that she would need to win a primary.
A total change of subject. I hear you've got yourself a new hobby, beekeeping. How is it possible for a man with 9 children and a very hard-working spouse to get involved in beekeeping? And why did you do it?
So just know, Stuart, that bee suit I was wearing was a little bit tight. I didn't try it on before I got my new package of bees. I got to tell you, I love this. I've been looking at bee videos forever. I've wanted to have bees for a long time. And I finally said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I got a little spot in my backyard. I got 3 packages of bees, 3 hives. They're the most amazing little creatures. I'm not sure.
I don't know what this has to do with anything. Let's see what the Trump rally. Oh, he's here. What? Oh, sorry, guys.
When New York started, it just brought a lot of it.
I didn't think he'd be out yet, guys. I'm sorry. We're gonna be a little bit behind everybody else, but that's all. Well, at least I know I'm free. Clinton in 96, Bush in 2000, wrote in my coworker in 04. Okay, so you voted for Clinton and voted for Bush. That's not very heard of. That's definitely different. So you just vote for whoever you feel is necessary. Okay. So what makes you not be willing to vote for Joe Biden this year? I know you're not voting for Trump.
Thank you very much. This is some
What
turnout.
makes you be willing to not vote for Joe Biden?
This is some turnout. And I want to thank New York's finest. They just brought a lot of additions. So we have people, thousands of people outside that can't even get in, but they'll get in eventually. We appreciate it. New York's finest. Hello, New York City, and hello to all of the incredible, tough, strong, hard-working American patriots right here in the Bronx.
I agree.
Who would think? Who would think? I'm thrilled to be back in the city I grew up in, the city
I wish it would
spent my
render,
life
probably.
in, the city I helped build, and the city that we all love, New York City. And I'm here tonight to declare that we are going to turn New York City around, and we are going to turn it around very, very quickly.
And you
We're
just
going
don't
to
like
bring
Trump because you
safety
feel
back
like
to
he's
our
a scam
streets.
artist?
We're going to bring success back to our schools. We're going to bring prosperity back to every neighborhood and every borough of the greatest city in our land. We're going to reduce taxes. We're going to bring businesses and big taxpayers back to New
Hello?
York. Gotta bring them back.
Streaming.
Gotta bring them back. And we're going to make New
Yeah, I don't
York
care.
bigger, better, and more beautiful than ever before. And that includes right here
All right,
in the
all right, I'm
Bronx.
streaming,
And
I'm
it's going
streaming.
to be done and
No, just go to
funded
AutoZone or
starting
something.
on January 20th, directly from our great and beautiful White House. Is that okay? For my whole life, I always thought that this city is a monumental testament to the power of the American spirit and the
What's up,
American
chat?
dream. When New York started as a small, rugged Dutch trading post near the tip of Manhattan in 1624, what you see around you is nothing more than wilderness and marsh. But by the muscle and backbone and genius of the people of New York, we built the city into the towering forest of iron, aluminum, concrete, and steel. We made this city and state into the capital of global commerce. We turned our hometown into the bustling center of a confident, glamorous American culture, and we inspired the entire world. We
Dude,
inspired
what
the
is
world.
up with this stream?
No matter where you went on this planet, everyone knew that when you said, "I'm a New Yorker," it meant you had smarts, you had grit, you had energy, and above all else, you had heart. Big, big, beautiful heart.
Dude, this is a Fox News.
Everybody wanted to be here. New York was where you came to make it big. You want to make it big, you had to be in New York. But sadly, this is now a city in decline. My
Dude,
life,
I'm going to a different one.
I've seen New York through good times.
Ugh, when is my allergy spray gonna kick in?
The fuck?
Remember this, if a New Yorker can't save this country, is now a city
This
in
one looks just as
decline.
bad. The fuck?
My life, I've seen New York through good times and bad, through boom times and crime waves, through market crashes and terrorist attacks, but I've never seen it quite like this. We have
I don't
filthy and of drugged out homeless people living in our places that we've
Yeah, dude.
spent so much time with children where they used to play.
That's true.
Lunatics killing innocent bystanders by pushing them on. It's a sad thing. Don't worry. It gets positive. Don't worry. It gets so positive. Remember, we're going to win. We're all winners. We're going to win so big. We're going to make it bigger and better than ever before. Remember that. So don't worry. By the time the other 6,000 or 7,000 people get in, it'll be very positive. Our subways are squalid and unsafe. The ceiling tiles are falling down, and they look worse than a third world country. The medians of our highways are crumbling. Our sidewalks are littered with garbage, bottles, and trash. But worst of all, the discarded needles from people that so desperately are in need of help. And we have mobs of migrants fighting our police officers and giving America the middle finger. But we are not going to let this continue. We are not going to abandon our hope and our pride. This city has given us so much, and now it is time that we are going to give it back. Together, we are going to make New York City great again, and simultaneously, we're going to make America great again.
These are terrible qualities.
I have come tonight to talk about solving problems. The simple fact is Joe Biden is not getting the job done for the Bronx. He's not getting the job done for New York, and he's not getting the job done for America. He is incompetent, ladies and gentlemen. He is grossly incompetent. I will get the job done as I did for 4 years, and I will get it done fast. And remember this, if a New Yorker can't save this country, no one can. No one can. Get me the snake, please. The snake. Thank you, everybody. What a crowd. This is something. You know, we wanted to keep it small because who knew? This is like a love fest. Love fest. It's a love fest. We love you. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Wow. Who said we're not going to win New York? We're going to win New York so bad. You know, if we win New York, we win the whole thing. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? We take back our country and we'll do a job like nobody's ever done before.
What's up, chat?
And what we did for 4 years was incredible, but we also learned a lot. We're going to get in there very fast with the right people, great people, people that are tested and true. Years ago, there was an ice skating rink, the Wallman Rink in the middle of Central Park. You know that story? That had been under construction for more than 10 years. They couldn't get it open. It was a renovation. They couldn't get it done. Mayor Koch was at his wits' ends. They just couldn't get it finished. They couldn't get it built. They couldn't get it open. People wanted to skate before their children turned old. Almost $20 million was spent over a long period of time. It was an embarrassment to the city. Every day they'd be laying the copper pipe, and every night that same pipe would be stolen.
Oh my
And
God!
they'd start all over again the next day, and it would be stolen. This went on weeks and weeks and months and months. They poured the concrete in small patches in wrong directions and at different heights. And they took their advice from a refrigerator company from Miami, where it's 95 degrees out. It was a total mess. They just didn't know what they were doing. And I saw this, and I wanted my children to be able to ice skate before. They didn't care about ice skating. I looked down on the rink, and I said, what is going on? Years and years. So I volunteered, and I took over the project and did a good job.
Go to AutoZone.
And when I took it over, I said that if it costs more than $2 million, I would pay for it, the entire amount. But it cost far less. The first thing I did was call the Montreal Canadiens hockey team in Canada. Right? Isn't that better than a refrigerator company from Miami?
Yeah, just...
They didn't know what we were talking about. But the Montreal Canadiens knew, and they were really nice. I'll never forget how nice they were. And they told me that you don't want to use copper tubing and gas because the gas is very delicate and it leaks. It's very fragile. It just doesn't work. You want to use rubber hose. I said, I like that. That's a lot cheaper. Water and salt. The salt makes it so the water doesn't freeze. It's called brine. And you're going to put that under the concrete. You're going to pour the concrete over the top. It's going to be great. It's going to work. Not going to leak. It's cheaper, faster. And it works all the time. And when we opened, there were no leaks. There were no problems whatsoever. Anyway, I started the project, laid the rubber hose, mixed the water and the salt beautifully together. I was down there when they were doing it. I said, you got to do it right. And covered the entire rink with concrete in 4, literally, you had to see this scene, concrete trucks operated by the Teamsters. Do we have any Teamsters here? Oh. Oh, you got to make sure that O'Brien, he's a good man. He endorses Trump. I think he's going to, actually. But the Teamsters, it stretched all the way You had trucks stretching all the way from the Woolman Rink, which was, let's say, at 60th Street, all the way back to Harlem. One contiguous pour. It was a day and a half of pouring concrete. One contiguous, a giant surface. As you know, the rink was completed in just 3 months for far less than the $2 million projected. The biggest expense was actually the demolition. That is the demolishing of everything that was built so incorrectly, so badly over a 10-year period. The biggest cost was demolition, taking it all down and starting all over. We opened with a ceremony with all Olympic gold medal winners, including the great Peggy Fleming, Dorothy Hamill, Scott Hamilton, and all of the others. Every one of them was there. It was a beautiful night, beautiful weather. I'll never forget the evening. It was one of the most beautiful. My parents were there. Now they're looking down on us. They say, wow, that's my son. Can you imagine? That's my son. Can you imagine? He's being tried in a court with a crooked judge. Can you believe this? Can you believe it? And highly conflicted judge at that. But everybody was there, and it was really something to behold. It was an incredible experience, and one of the great experiences of my life in New York. We opened it. It's been successful, and successful ever since. What a great, great experience. It was beautiful. And, you know, a lot of it's common sense. You'd like to say the Republican Party is the party of common sense. You don't go to Miami when you want to make ice. You go to Canada when you want to make ice.
They don't all have common sense.
Or you
I don't agree with them completely. They don't all have common sense.
could go right down the road in the Bronx to Ferry Point, right? Everybody know about Ferry Point. It was another disaster, a development where the city had spent over 29 years, almost $300 million trying to develop it into a luxury golf resort, anything. They'll take anything. They were spending money. You know, trucks were going here, dumping, getting filled up, moving it here, dumping, getting filled up with the same stuff. This went on for years, back and forth, the same stuff. They were feather bedding. They were doing lots of bad things. But really, they didn't know how to get it done. They had no idea how much money they were spending. And when asked how much they spent, they said, we just don't know. That's been going on for years, decades. They were unable to do it. And at the time, the mayor, Michael Bloomberg, said, no, it's all right. It's okay. Now, Michael Bloomberg was the mayor, and he called me. He said, I have to get this done before I finish my term. It was very important to him. He was embarrassed by it. Everybody was embarrassed. It went through Mayor Koch. It went through a lot of different mayors. Almost 30 years, remember that. And he said, in all fairness, he said, I want to get this done, and you're the one that can do it. You're the only one that can do it.
Come here.
And I said, and I will do it. I will get it done. And we got it done before he finished his term, which was great. But there were no other bidders to my knowledge. And I took over the project, spending only my money to build it. And I called all of the contractors together. These were tough people. These were tough, hard people. Many of you are probably contractors on that site. Come to that. And I said, look, fellas, you guys have made a fortune on this thing for years and years against the city. It's time we get together and build it. Let's get it built. Let's do it right. And let's get the hell out of here. We owe it to the city. And they worked so hard. The roughest, toughest contractors in New York. They had spirit like you've never seen before. And it was magnificently designed by the great Jack Nicklaus, who told me, I don't want to make any more money. They paid me enough. Everybody get paid a fortune. Jack said, I don't want money. I just want to see it get built for the people of New York, and that's what we did. But everybody, just like Jack, they said very similar things. These guys were rough and tough, and they made a lot of money, but you'd think they'd want to make more, but they didn't. They just wanted to get it built. And in just a little more than a year, so this was going on for 30 years, including, think of it, just a magnificent thing to watch. You had to watch these people working, just the opposite of what took place for the first 29 years. But we had a magnificent world-class golf course that many of you have played now, and it's rated as one of the best public courses in the country. And then a short while later, we built a beautiful clubhouse, one of the prettiest I've seen, built it, completed. The project was absolutely beautiful. It opened to great fanfare and great, great success. And do you want to hear the end result, though? Should I? Should I
Should
go
I?
off teleprompter and tell you the
Go up. Should
You think
I?
Biden goes off teleprompter? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think
He's no
so.
good on teleprompter. No, but okay, so I did this beautiful job, and then we had a dispute over January 6th. We had a dispute, and they said, January 6th, we want to terminate his agreement with the city, had a long-term agreement with the city. And they sent me a notice of termination. I said, wait a minute. I just spent $25 million building it, built this magnificent clubhouse. It's in full operation. It took you 29 years. You were spending hundreds of millions of dollars. You couldn't get it done. And the neighborhood came to court totally for me. The Bronx neighborhood. It's in the Bronx. It's on the East River in the Bronx. And we went to court. The city sued to break my agreement that they had just made. And I had done such a great job for them. And it was accolades everywhere. Golf Magazine, all of the big magazines were saying, what a great job. They terminated my agreement, and I went to court. And I will tell you, I had a very good experience. We had a Supreme Court justice named Deborah James. And I have to give her credit. I didn't know her, never met her. Deborah James, a African-American woman who came to my defense. We explained it, and the city explained it. They said, we want to terminate it. They had no reason. And we said what we just said. And she looked at them, and she said, in effect, how dare you? This man came in. He put up his own money. He did an incredible job. You were building it for 29 years. How dare you ask for this to be terminated? How unfair is that? Deborah James, a great Supreme Court justice. That's all I can tell you. And we won the case. But it's not easy doing business in New York, I'll tell you.
I thought I was going to say, great African American. My great African American, Deborah James.
Yeah, not easy. So I just appreciated that. I had to tell that story. And as you know, then I renovated Grand Central Terminal. I built the Grand Hyatt Hotel on 42nd Street and Park Avenue. And as part of that, I renovated the beautiful Grand Central Terminal, did a really good job of that. And then I was very much responsible for the construction of the Jacob Javits Convention Center, where Hillary Clinton was going to have her big evening. That was not good. Remember? We had the glass ceiling. You know, we built glass ceiling. She said, we're going to break the glass ceiling. It didn't work out.
Whoa, did I just
I'll
trip?
tell you a little secret that I don't think I've ever... I hated the concept. I said we have to get on with our country. We have to win against Russia. We have to win against China, North Korea, all the different countries we're at loggerheads with.
Hold on, guys. Let me see something. Because that was being really weird. It looked like we were like tripping on acid or something for a second right there.
$2,970.
But above all, New Yorkers have something called common sense, and we do have common sense. An old-fashioned American common sense is exactly what I intend to bring back to the White House, just like we had for 4 years. You know, we had 4 of the greatest years in the history of our country. We rebuilt the military, we cut taxes, the biggest tax cut in history, the biggest regulation cut in history. We defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS, and we did it in about 1/100th the time. They said it would take 4 to 5 years. It took me like 2 months, right? Because we have an incredible military, and we're not allowed to show. They had Afghanistan, the worst pullout, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. It's probably the reason, a piece of it, why Russia went into Ukraine. They said, these people are incompetent. We'll go in. So Russia going into Ukraine would have never happened. None of this stuff that you see would have happened. Israel would have never happened, the attack on October 7th, and you wouldn't have had inflation. As soon as I get back into the Oval Office, I am going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call your mayor and your governor, and I'm going to say, this is President Trump, and I want to come back and help. Look, you have a Democrat governor, you have a Democrat mayor, and we are going to work with
Lost
them.
more
and we're
jobs
gonna
than
get
all
this
the
state
other
and this
presidents
city
combined.
at a
Who,
level
Donald
that
Trump, Von?
it's never seen before, frankly. I think we can do that, too.
Is that who you're talking about?
We're going to be helping them a lot, much more than anybody would expect. It doesn't matter whether they're Democrats or Republicans, because this is about our city and our country, and it's really about
What up,
the
Tyler?
people, and in this case, the people of
Yeah,
New
that's
York
just a
City,
lie,
New
though.
York State.
I mean, you can
We're gonna
believe
make
that
you
if
very,
you
very
want. That's a
happy.
lie, though.
And Biden,
So you can't blame the pandemic on him, or I call it the scamdemic. You can't blame anything that happened during the scamdemic at all, because everybody was fighting against him in office for things that he wanted to do. He tried putting travel bans on people. They said it was racist, and then turned around and said no travel bans. You can't put that on Trump at all. You cannot put the scamdemic on him at all. You put that on the heart of everything. If anything, you put that on Dr. Fauci. And I mean, I guess Trump. Trump didn't hire him. Fauci's been around since the 80s. If anything, why can't I blame what happened under Trump on Trump? Because he wasn't responsible for the scamdemic, and the whole government was fighting against everything he wanted to do to try and keep us afloat. So you can't blame it on him. It doesn't matter. That literally does not matter. This was a worldwide thing that was going on. Everything before the scamdemic was fucking great. You can't say that. Everything before the scamdemic was great. Well, you can't blame. You can't. I mean, you can. You obviously you can if you want, but that's just illogical, though. To blame it on him is very illogical because he's not responsible for it happening. This was a worldwide scamdemic that was going on, not just in America. So you're more than welcome to blame it on him, 1,000% if you want to. I don't blame it on him. So riots across the country. That was on the demon rats. What riots are you talking about? The job losses. The job losses, like I said, you can't blame that on him. Just like you can't give Biden credit for job growth because he was coming out of the end of the scamdemic. So you can't blame either or. You know what I mean? You can't blame or give credit to. You got to take it before Trump was in. Trump created the jab. Well, you got to understand that Trump is responsible for everybody in the country, and not everybody's just anti-vaccine. The BSBLMNT riots, all Democratic. Yeah, we already know that. George Soros funded all that. But he did some decent things for the country. If I'm wrong, Bird, let me know. No, you're not wrong at all, Tyler. Trump created the jab. Trump didn't create the jab, though. Johnson & Johnson created it. Pfizer created it. There's a few things I understand, I learned, right? And that is one thing, honestly, that I don't like about that he promoted the vaccine so much, Vaughn. That is one thing that I did not like about Trump. But I also understand that he is not just a president for people that are anti-vaccine, right? He's also president for people that are pro-vaccine. Some people like it, some people don't. Hey, that's on them. You know what I mean? You can't blame. I mean, I do. I didn't. That is one thing I didn't like about Trump with promoting the vaccine so much. I think that's why he stepped away from it, because he realized his true voting fan base, they do not rock with that at all, not one bit. So I can't agree with you. I can't agree with you on the job losses. I can't agree with you on the riots across the country, but I can't agree with you on the vaccine. He wanted it available to people that did want. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he did promote it though a little bit. Well, he did somewhat promote it and say, "No, it's fine. It's fine. I took it. It's fine." So that is one thing I didn't like that he did, but that's just, you're not going to agree with everybody about everything. You know what I mean? You're never going to agree with everybody about everything. But with the riots in the country and the job losses, I do not agree with that.
can't do it here.
That was Antifa and BLM causing the riots around the country, and those were all funded by George Soros. Just like the Capitol riots, Trump wears makeup. He might be a He might be, bro. I don't know.
He doesn't know he's alive.
He got kids. Yeah, he's had multiple wives. Supposedly banged a porn star. I mean, maybe.
You know, see all the stairs here? Stare. Two of them behind me, one in the middle. When he's finished with his 2.5
Yeah, for
minute,
sure.
you know,
No, I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
watch his speech. They last for about 1.5 minutes. When he's finished with his speech, he can never find the stairs. He can never find the stairs. And
Well,
when
you
he
got
does,
one
it's
thing
not a
with
pretty
me
picture
that I
either.
agree with you on, Vaughn.
Thank goodness for Secret Service. They come up and they guide them off. No, this is not what we need. When you see President Xi of China, when you see Kim Jong-un of North Korea, when you see Putin and you see all of these people, they're at the top of their game, whether you like it or not, and they can't believe that this has happened to the United States. We have lost respect all over the world. We were the most respected country in the world 4 years ago. We were respected more than our country was ever respected 4 years ago, and now we're being laughed at. We're like a joke.
Okay,
And
so
that's
what
not
else
gonna
we got,
happen.
Vaughn?
That's not going to happen. We're going to do whatever it takes
So,
to fix
Vaughn,
our road.
across from the joking about my being a trans and stuff, what else do you have legitimately, right? Because I don't agree with the job losses and I don't agree with the riot. The jab, he didn't necessarily created it. He wanted it to get out as quick as possible for the people that wanted it. But I also don't like the way he promoted it personally. That's just me personally, though. So, what else do you have legitimately that you could say?
Roads, bridges, and highways. We're going to take back our parks, not just for children, but for everybody. We're going to renovate New York's subway system so it no longer looks like it hasn't been cleaned since 1932, but rather it will be the most beautiful transit system anywhere in the world.
He's a
I don't know if you know it. It's by far the biggest infrastructure subway.
I understand that that's how you feel about border crisis and border. Yeah, for sure. I understand what you're saying, Vaughn, but what I'm saying is give me what he's done wrong when he was president. You know, I get that, like, you think he's a piece of shit, whatever, blah blah blah. Like, tell me what he's done wrong, as opposed to the people that you voted for. He begs me for money out of, like, he comes up to you like, Vaughn, please give me money. Is that what you're telling me? That's pretty great. I didn't know you had a personal relationship with him, man. Maybe it might be a vendetta you have against him then. What is your neighbor do? Where do you live at, in Mar-a-Lago? Bro, that's raw. I love it.
Way infrastructure in the world, and we're going to make it by far the biggest, and now we're going to make it by far the best. We're going to make it beautiful again. And a lot of it is topical. You know, the expensive work people don't understand because they're not in construction. It's topical work. It's topical. It's built. The expensive, the hard, the labor, the money. The big stuff is done. We're going to make it beautiful. We're going to make it good. And most importantly, we're going to let New York's finest do its job. The transit cops do their job. We're going to make it safe. Most importantly. And importantly, for the people that are before me today, we are going to make life in New York affordable again. It's gotten totally out of control.
I feel like, but I mean, to be fair, I feel like life in New York has never been affordable.
The minute crooked Joe Biden shuffles out the door, I will rapidly rebuild the greatest economy, the history of the world. Look, we had the greatest economy in history.
With the social media.
Everybody here, when you have a small business or if you had a job, you were getting more than you ever made. And
didn't he become one of the richest men in the world with that, Will?
we had no inflation. We had no 1.4%, considered none, considered better than none, because frankly, none in its own way is a bad thing also.
Yo,
We
Michael,
had
my
a
dog.
perfect number, 1.4%. It doesn't matter whether you're black or brown or white or whatever the hell color you are. It doesn't matter. We are all Americans,
That's
and
all.
we're going to pull together.
That's all. So that means you voted for him, bro. If you're getting stuff in the mail in your emails from him, that means you voted for him, Vaughn. They don't just send that to random people. I didn't start getting the stuff till I like really voted for him.
As Americans.
Or you're a registered Republican. Are you a registered Republican? That means gains type on the level hundreds of billions. Oh yeah.
We all want better opportunity.
Okay.
I'm not just going to promise
Was he
it.
trusted
I'm going to
Fauci? Vaughn is
deliver
a real
it as I
dumbass.
did just
So,
a short while
I'm not
ago.
going to
Think
say
of it.
Ron's a
You know,
dumbass.
when I went
I'm a
down to
registered
Washington, I was
Republican.
only
I
there
love it.
17
I love it.
times. I never stayed over. I didn't know.
That is true, Sue. And sometimes you honestly, I don't fault him for that because you don't always see people for their true colors up front. You know what I mean? It could have been masked, and obviously, his dude's a fucking weasel. So
that society. And we had great people. Look at what we did with economic development, with the rebuilding of our military, with the tax cuts, with the. We had great people, but we also had some people that I wouldn't have used.
no, he
if I
doesn't
had my
have to
choice.
unsubscribe.
Now I know everybody. I know the smart ones. I know the dumb ones. I know the killers. I know the weak ones. I know them all. And you're gonna see.
Yeah, I
But
think you can.
everyone was better
Oh,
off.
you're talking about his email. Yeah, you can unsubscribe from the email or letters, Vaughn.
We had the greatest economy in history. Everybody was better
Yeah,
off
yeah, yeah.
under a man named President Donald J. Trump. Have you ever heard of him? Have you heard of him? We had gasoline down to $1.87 a gallon, and actually times when it was much lower than that. We had a record low poverty rate for black Americans and Hispanic Americans. We had the lowest, we had the best poverty rate in terms of the positive number ever in our history for black Americans and Hispanic Americans. We lifted 6.6 million people out of poverty. Nothing like that has ever happened in our country. And the real middle class income rose over $6,000 a year. Think of that. Under Biden, it's a disaster. Real middle class income has fallen over $2,000 a year. That's a lot. That's a difference of $8,000. Real earnings for African Americans are down 5.6%. African Americans are getting slaughtered. Hispanic Americans are getting slaughtered. And these millions and millions of people that are coming into our country, the biggest impact and the biggest negative impact is against our black population and our Hispanic population, who are losing their jobs, losing their housing, losing everything they can lose. They're the ones that are affected most by what's happening. Not only the fact that you've lost the use of your schools, your parks, and your hospitals. Joe Biden's inflation. Do they have that?
Build the wall. 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 Build the wall.
So we built
Wall.
much more wall than we built 571 miles of wall. We had the safest border in history. We were going to put up within a period of 3 weeks.
Everybody,
it was all
put a
built, laying
hashtag
there,
build
ready to
the
be
wall.
put up, designed by the Border Patrol, who are incredible people, ICE, who are incredible people, all together. I wanted to put up concrete plank for the contractors here. They didn't want it. They had to have hardened steel. They wanted 6,000, 7,000-pound concrete. They wanted rebar in the middle. They wanted different materials, harder to cut. So we had very hard steel, very good stuff. Everything was good. We had the panel on top. It was called an anti-climb panel. We had the best wall. And it was going to be, we're going to add 200 miles of wall. It would have taken about 3 weeks. And then we had the rigged election. And you know what happened after the rigged
Well, you're my
election?
fucking vice
They took
president.
the
You'll
wall,
fucking
and
like it,
instead of
dude.
putting it up, they sold it for
If
5
not,
cents on the
if not, we're fucking demoting you down to press secretary, buddy.
dollar. And I said, these people really do want to have an open border. And that's what's happened to our country. Our country has gone to hell because of it. It's gone to
Drill,
hell.
baby, drill.
But I I want to thank Mexico.
I want to drill, baby,
because
drill.
I went to Mexico. We really have no choice. He said,
No,
"Send him back."
we're gonna drop you so far down it's not even gonna be possible. You're gonna have to get rid of like 20 people in front of you.
Chance, send it back. Nobody wants to send anybody back, but you have no choice. This is not sustainable by any country, right? This is not sustainable. But we had Mexico, and we went to Mexico, and I said to the president of Mexico, good man, by the way, a very good guy, happens to be a socialist, but these are minor details. I said to him, Mr. President, we need you to give us 28,000 soldiers to guard the wall. He said, well, how much would you pay for that? I said, nothing. I'm not paying anything. You're sending them in. They're coming in caravans. You have to do it.
There you go.
And he smiled and he laughed. He thought it was funny.
Yeah,
He
they
thought it
cut
was
holes
like,
in
you know,
that
I was
fence every
kidding.
day.
I
Do
said,
they
no,
really?
no. They're
I'd like to
coming in
see.
through
I'd like to see pictures of that, Vaughn. I've never seen pictures of them cutting holes in the wall. Honestly, I'd be wrapping that bitch full of barbed wire, bro. Seriously, I'd wrap that bitch all full of barbed wire. Put barbed wire in front of it. I wouldn't give a fuck.
Mexico. We need
I put fucking gators in that water and everything, dude.
28,000 soldiers, free of charge. And he said, Donald, I cannot do that. I said, here's what you do. I don't want to embarrass you, so I'm not going to negotiate with you. Send me a negotiator. Give me a top negotiator. I want to see him. And he came to the White House, a very handsome man, dressed in one of the most beautiful suits I've ever seen. In fact, I was going to ask him, who is your tailor? I'd like to buy one of those suits, but I didn't think it was appropriate to start the negotiation that way. And I said, you know that you're going to give us 28,000 soldiers. Just don't you? No, we are not going to. We will never do that. I said, of course you're going to. 100%. He said, we're not going to. He said, no way. I said, way. You're going to get it. I said, 100%. And you're also going to have a new policy. It's called Remain in Mexico. Nobody can come into our country until they're free.
That's weird.
And then you're going to have
maybe
catch
your
and
cat
release
is
into
getting
Mexico.
loose.
You know, we have catch and release into our country. Even if they're criminals, we catch them, we check them, we see they're a criminal, we release them, we say, come back 5 years later, you'll have a court case. Nobody ever comes back. So I said to the State Department, and a wonderful woman, but a bad negotiator, I said to the State Department, give me a top 10, give me a top 10 list. Give me a top 10 things. I said to ICE and Border Patrol, give me a top 10. They gave me a top 10 list. And a lot of it had to do with all of the horrible disease that pours through. People that have highly contagious diseases are coming into our country at levels that we've never seen before. So many other things. And they gave me a top 10 list, but they laughed. They said, sir, they'll never do. We've been trying to get this stuff for 25 years. I said, if I were a betting man, I would bet you any amount of money. You'll have it very quickly. So this man comes in. I said, we want a policy, remain in Mexico, Tijuana, hundreds of probably the fastest growing city in the world.
I
for a
got
period
you,
of a
Vaughn.
year. That
You gotta vote for Trump this year.
place was loaded up with people. They weren't allowed into our country, and we had already built a lot of the wall.
We'll throw you
A
somewhere
tremendous
there,
amount,
Vaughn.
571 miles. Without that, we couldn't have ever done this. And he said that we're not going to do it, sir. I said, you are going to do it. He said, we're not. I said, here's the story. I'm not going to mess around with you. I have to go. I have a very important meeting, much more important than this. I said, here's the story. You're either going to do it, it's Friday evening, or on Monday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, we are going to put a 25% tariff on everything that Mexico sends into our country. And then 1 month later, if you don't do it, we're going to put a 50%. Then we're going to go 75. And because I'm a nice person, we're going to stop at a 100% tariff. And and I had it literally written. I'm saying, should I sign it or not? Am I going to waste the ink or not? Because I'll sign it right now. On Monday morning at 7 o'clock, you're going to pay up to a $100 tariff. He said, sure, I'd like to make a phone call. I said, I wonder who you're going to call. Let me guess, you're going to call the president. He comes back 3 minutes later. Sir, it would be our great honor to give you 28,000 soldiers free of charge. It would be our great honor to have a policy of remain in Mexico. Anyway, and we got all 10 things. It took about like 10 minutes. It was not. And now the other day, did you see?
I love it.
Mexico said to President Joe Biden, we want $20 billion a year just for the privilege of negotiating with you. We want you to
Seriously.
pay us. Did you see that? It was a little article. You hardly. There's a slight difference. Would you say? He would have never asked that. He would have never asked it. So he said they want 20 billion. 20 billion, not 20
Yeah,
billion's a
I'm
lot.
good.
They want 20 with a B, $20 billion a year, just for the privilege of negotiating with Mexico. And you would never get
What's
the
up,
things
everybody?
that
If you
they
could, please
gave
make
up
sure to hit the like
remain
for
in
me.
Mexico. They gave up catch and release in Mexico. They gave up they gave up everything. They gave up. They did. They did give up the Constitution. His inflation has cost the average New York household a staggering $24,000. Think of that. Because the costs have gone up
Ooh.
so much. Bacon has got. I don't eat bacon anymore. It's too expensive.
It's too expensive.
It's gone up like 4 times. I said, what's with? Look at the Biden price hikes, very runaway inflation, the likes of which
What is
I
going
don't
on
think
with
we've ever
this?
seen like it. And they're costing average New York families $1,000. The inflation, the Biden inflation, just for the privilege of negotiating with Mexico. And you would never
don't know
get
what
the
was going
things
on
that
with that.
they gave up remain in Mexico. They gave up catch and release in Mexico. They gave up they gave up everything. They gave up.
Yeah, they gave up on
They did give up the
Constitution.
Constitution. Joe Biden.
He probably never has,
His
bro.
inflation
Honestly, he
has
probably never
cost the
has.
average New York household a staggering.
If I was that rich, I don't know if
$24,000.
I would either.
Because the costs have gone up
Okay, it's just a stream.
so much. Bacon has got. I don't eat bacon anymore. It's too expensive. It's true. It's gone up like 4 times. I said, what's with? Look at the Biden price hikes, very
Damn,
runaway
dude, that's
inflation,
crazy.
the likes of which I don't think we've ever seen like it.
I need
And
to
they're
start
costing
grocery
average
shopping.
New York families $1,000. The inflation, the Biden inflation.
I want to go
tax,
get
'cause
one of
it's
them
a tax.
hibachi grills for
On
outside.
day 1, we're going to throw out
Like
Bidenomics.
right on my
They're going
back
to replace
patio.
it with Maganomics, like your hats.
Meganomics, I want it. Let's go.
And I will give you lower taxes. We're going to cut it still lower. Remember, when I
We're
cut
gonna put that in the
taxes,
thing.
I gave you the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, bigger than the Reagan tax cuts. And you know what? The following year, we reported massive increases in revenue. So with lower taxes, we actually took in more money because it gave incentive.
the new
for people
hashtag,
to work.
Meganomics?
Lots of reasons. But I will give you low taxes, low inflation, low interest rates, rising wages, growing incomes, and fair trade for the American worker. And we will make energy affordable again by saying, drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill.
I got 2 new shirt ideas coming
Your
out,
energy
fellas.
costs will come
Everybody
down
in
within
chat,
the first
2
year by 50%.
I got 2 new shirt
That's not
ideas
bad.
coming out.
That's
now.
a hell of
I'm
a
gonna,
promise.
I'm gonna,
And it will, too.
make 'em later.
We can drop that so quickly. Remember, it was his stupid energy policies that caused the inflation. Now, it's more than energy. Now everything's like on fire. The whole place is a mess. We will quickly return our nation to the path of prosperity, and we will bring our country back together through unparalleled success. Our country is going to be very successful, and people are going to come together. And I will tell you, a lot of people say, do you think you can ever get the sides together? And by the way, I have to say something. Our side is much bigger than their side. You see that? Much bigger. We're more quiet, much more quiet. But when we get going, we're much tougher, right? We're much tougher. But it is much bigger. But I saw it. We had the greatest economy in history, and I was getting calls from the other side. I call it the radical left. Left-leaning, to put it mildly, Democrats. Can we get together? Because everybody had the best they've ever had. African-American jobs were the best in history. Asian American, the best in history. Hispanic, the best in history. Women, people with a diploma, people without a diploma. People that went to the great Wharton School of Finance, MIT, Harvard.
Meganomics, I love it.
And the people that didn't have a high school diploma were having everybody was better. There wasn't one group, not one, that went down. And it was bringing our country together so it can happen. And when they ask, because I get that question a lot, do you think the sides can ever get together? And I went through the experience, and we can get together. And then we had COVID come in, and we had to fight that battle. And we did a great, I've been recognized as having created a great economy and great military, defeating ISIS and all the things. We rebuilt the entire military, created Space Force, all those things. We never got the credit, and we had no wars. Thank you, sir. That's very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Remember Hillary Clinton used to point at me, he will create wars. No. They said his personality will create wars. I said, no, my personality is going to keep us out of wars. And I was right. First president in 78 years that didn't start a war. We had no wars. None of these stupid wars. Such a shame. When you see all the people that died in these horrible wars in the Middle East and everything else, countries didn't want us, dropping bombs all over the place, spent $9 trillion in the Middle East. We bombed the hell out of the place, then we leave. In the old days, to the victor belong the spoils. We don't do that. We bomb the hell out of everyone, then we come back home. It's so sick. It's so sick and so stupid. These people that led us are so stupid. You want to use that as a last resort. You can solve these problems with a meeting or with a telephone call. You don't have to drop billions of dollars worth of bombs on people's heads. You don't have to. It's called peace through strength. It really is. And there's no reason for it. What they did in the Middle East is so incredible. They bombed the hell out of the place, and then they left. But to the victor belong the spoils. We didn't do that. Now, in Iraq, years ago, I was a civilian, but I got a lot of publicity for whatever the hell reason. And I said, don't go into Iraq, don't go into Iraq, don't go into Iraq. But if you're going to go in, keep the oil. Well, they went in, and they didn't keep the oil. And Iraq now has $350 billion in cash from the oil. And Iran, by us destroying Iraq, the military of Iraq, for years they fought each other, and they were equal sizes, equal everything. They were equal military partners.
Yeah,
and for 1,000 years under different names, they would fight. A religious thing. They'd fight. They'd go 5 feet left, 5 feet right, 5 feet left, 5 feet right. Somebody would say they have gas. Somebody would say they have nuclear. Then they'd rest for a few years, and they'd fight again. But we blew the hell out of one side, Iraq. So now Iraq is a subsidiary, essentially, of Iran. Congratulations for the geniuses that got us into that mess. Because Iran essentially controls, and that was the other thing. When I was president,
good evening, everybody.
Iran was broke. They had no money.
Everyone,
I said to China, if you buy, they bought a lot of oil. I said, if you buy anything.
Everybody, if you guys haven't yet, could you please make sure to hit that like for me? It really helps out a lot.
But if you buy oil from Iran, we are going to do something to you. What's that? You're not going to do any business in the United States. He said, well, that's the end of buying oil from Iran. Every country was told that. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah.
That's so funny.
They had no money for anything. Then
they're trying to steal you, Creeper.
He takes all of
They're trying to steal you from us, Creeper.
The sanctions off. And they go out, and now Iran has $223 billion. Congratulations. And we're the only ones for 5 hostages. We just paid $6 billion. And for electricity for Iraq, we just paid $10 billion. And think of it, Iraq has billions of dollars that we're paying for their electricity. So we were in a position, there was no terror, there was no threat, there was no nothing. And now Iran has become a big threat again.
I like it.
And I tell you, I see a lot of flags from right out of Israel, right? That's right out of Israel. But remember, I said it a month ago, and it's a terrible thing to say, but I believe it. Many of the hostages that you're waiting for, and everybody's waiting for, those hostages, many of them are dead. Many of them are dead. And it's a horrible thing.
Okay,
it's
Tyler.
a horrible thing, but many of those hostages are dead. And that's why when you see these negotiations where Hamas is like not getting back, they're saying, man, we could make a good deal, but these people are no longer alive. When I saw the way they were treated, when I saw the way they were thrown into the cars and how horribly they were treated, there's no way that those hostages, and some will be alive, but many of those hostages are dead. It's a very serious, horrible thing. It would have never happened if the election weren't rigged. It would have never happened if I were your president. They would have never done it. Because we have so many young people here today, I want to talk about, just for a moment, about success. Do you remember I used to give talks on success before politics? Okay, that's enough. We're going to do it. I know you're on our side, but it's enough. We're going to get them home. It's a rough situation. But remember, we used to give talks on success for the learning annex and for others, and I used to do that before politics, and maybe it's one of the reasons I went in. But because, well, bringing our city back, it starts with getting the right leadership. It also involves men and women just like you. But I talk a lot about success, and I get paid money to talk about success. I would have done it for nothing. But then because of politics, and if you take a look, because of politics, I stopped doing that. But I think we're in the Bronx. We have young people, people that aspire to success. And I just wanted to know, I'm so tired of politics. Can we devote 6 minutes to success? Okay. So, for all of you young people, I think it's, look, I've been through tremendous, I've had great success. I've had it in entertainment, I've had it in business, I've had it in politics. I ran for office. What office did you run for president? How'd you do? I won. Actually, I won twice. We did much better the second time, so. We got millions more votes the second time. But it doesn't compare to this time. There is so much more. We had tremendous enthusiasm when we, I don't call her Crooked Hillary anymore. I call her Beautiful Hillary because I took crooked and used it for Joe. I don't like using it for
Beautiful Hillary.
But we had tremendous enthusiasm in 2016. We had unbelievable more enthusiasm in 2020 because we did such a good job. In fact, one of the big problems in 2016 was the wall. It was the border. I fixed it so good that I couldn't talk about it in 2020. I kept saying to my people, I want to talk about the wall. I want to talk about the great job I did on immigration. I stopped people from coming in.
You did.
They said, sir, nobody cares. You already fixed it. I said, this is a terrible thing. You fix it and you can't talk about it.
No, you
but
didn't
let's
fix
talk
it
about
yet,
for
though.
the young
Why did
people
they say
just
that?
to listen for a couple of
The wall isn't done yet. We need to fix it completely. That's what he needs to be telling them.
minutes because we've been talking about politics so long. I'm OD'd. You know what that means? I'm OD'd on politics. I'm OD'd on Trump. I turn on the television. Trump, 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 Trump. All different stories. Trump. They're driving us crazy. So I believe in the expression. Did you ever hear this expression? The harder you work, the luckier you get. You know who said that? A great golfer named Gary Player. He was smaller than other golfers, but he worked harder than other golfers. And he ended up with the most career wins of any golfer. He ended up with 9 majors. And, he was small in stature, but big right up here. But he made that say, it was the first time I ever heard about it. He said, it's a funny thing happens. The harder I work, the luckier I get. That was an athlete saying that. Amazing, right? It's the first time I heard it. Probably been said by others, but it's true. I can tell you, if you didn't work really hard, there is very little chance that I would be standing here right now. Another part of success is something I learned from my father. I had a wonderful father, wonderful parents. I'm lucky. You got to be lucky. Got to get great parents. If you're going to spend your life working really hard, you have to love it. You have to pick something that you really enjoy. Sometimes your parents will say, don't do that. But you got to a little bit, in that case, you got to follow your own way. You got to love it. Ideally, you're going to love something where there's a potential, because there are some things you love, but it's not going to do you so good. So ideally, fall in love with something that's good. Some people go into a business where it's a very hard business. If you can't go into a business, that's an easier business.
This is the crowd in front of him.
But I see it all the time. Somebody has every ingredient for success. Smart, brilliant, everything's good. But they're in a business where you hit your head on the wall. It's a very tough business. Try finding something where it's a great business with a great future, and there are plenty of them out there. My father taught me about construction, but what I really learned from him was that he worked 7 days a week because he really loved to do it. I mean, he would work on Sunday, he'd go to church in the morning, and then he'd go and work. And I know some people that don't believe in working on Sunday. You couldn't keep him away from work.
Dude, that's
but he loved
nuts.
working, and he was happy. He
What's
was
up, Adam?
married for a long time. That's one thing I'm not going to top him on. He was married. He was married for a long time, decades and decades. I said, Pop, I'm not going to beat you on that one. Never going to beat you. But because his work made him happy, but he was happy when he worked, and he was successful, and he knew what he was doing. He'd build a house on one side of the street. Somebody else would build a house on the other side of the street. And he'd build his house faster, better, cheaper, and he'd sell it for less money. The other guy would build the house for more money, take him longer, couldn't sell it. My father would go buy the house for less money than it cost him to build the first one, and he'd sell it. And you know, in the old days, a long time ago, his brother was a professor at MIT. My father worked, he was a little younger than my father. My father put him to school. He went to MIT, a very brilliant guy, Professor John Trump, the longest serving professor in the history of MIT, 41 years, I believe. Dr. John Trump. My father used to tell me I used to go crazy. Your uncle was always getting degrees. I had to keep building for your uncle to get him through college. He was always up there getting degrees. But he was at MIT for 41 years, a brilliant guy. He used to talk to me about nuclear because he was a nuclear genius, along with a genius about everything else. And he used to say that someday there'll be a time when a small package carried by hand can blow up an entire city. And I said, no way, Uncle John, that's never going to happen, Uncle John. Guess what? He was right a long time ago that he said it. But my father would price a house. And I'd say, how did you price in those days, Dad? He said, pricing was everything. He said, I'd sell a house for $3,999.99. And that one penny made the difference between selling it and not. One penny. If I made it $4,000, I wouldn't sell. But psychologically, $3,999.99. And he sold houses. And guys wouldn't sell them. But he used to tell me that one penny, sounds crazy, but it wasn't crazy. Psychologically, people thought they were buying it for $3,000, not $4,000. It's sort of like getting an 89 on a test in school or a 90. A 90's an A, and an 89, 1 point, is a B+. Another lesson: when times are tough, sometimes that's when you perform the best. You have to learn that about yourself. You have to learn it about yourself. Are you okay? Are you guys okay? Oh, okay. Take your time. Yeah, take your time. Doctor, any doctor, please. Doctor in the house. Thank you. Are you okay? You take your time, darling. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll just leave.
Take your time.
Just leave your key. Well, just turn it off. Leave your keys and just bring them over here if you want. And just take my spare key and put it in your key in case I don't want to take you to work in the morning. All right, well,
Take your
maybe
time,
you
Doc.
could just take
We
the car
have
then.
time.
You could just take my car. That's why I just come over here. Oh.
Some people waited here for 2 days.
All right,
It's
bye.
tough. It's tough. Thank you. Plenty of time. That's good.
Yeah.
Water.
Water.
She all right? She okay?
Oh, that's the lady. My buddy was telling me somebody was passed out in the crowd because we're a little bit behind. I didn't know what he was talking about. Everybody say fuck Joe Biden.
She doing okay? Thank you, Pat. Plenty of time. Okay? You okay? Thank you, doctor. Thank you very much, doctors. Got a lot of doctors in the house. Thank you very much. Thank you, darling. That's great. That's great. Great job.
Yo, that's hilarious.
People do a fantastic
He's
job here. But it's hot, and it's been a long wait, right? Long wait.
That was so funny, bro.
Thank you very much, doctor. Appreciate it. Thank you. I know she's going to be okay because she's so tough. Some of the greatest days of my business career were in the toughest times, but I enjoyed waking up every single morning and go to battle. A lot of people say to me today, the toughest business people, people that you know about, could I ask you a question? How do you do it? I say, do what? How do you get up in the morning and put your pants on? Where do you put the pants on? I'll explain it to you someday. How do you do it? How do you get up? How do you do it? How can you want to do with what you do? They're after you. They're after you. These horrible human beings are after you all the time. Impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, lawsuits all up. And they're doing it to injure the political opponent of an incompetent candidate because he can't run fairly and squarely. And I say, you know what I do? I just do it. I put on the blinders. I say, I just do it. We do it. And the other question they ask me is, will it happen again? And we have to make it too big to rig. We got a lot of great people watching. We have to make it too big to rig.
Yeah. Too big.
But one of the things you
Too
need
big
in
to
success
rig.
is momentum. You need momentum. You got to have, and when you have that momentum going, there's nothing that can stop you. And I tell the story of Bill Levitt. Bill Levitt was a great real estate man, great. Levitt towns all over the country. One of the most successful real estate people.
Yo, we
at
got
a
6
certain age
people in here
ever.
and we only have 4
And
likes.
he
Can
built
we at least
these
get
massive
2 more
towns
likes?
that were,
Just to
you know,
even it
there
out?
was nothing like him at the time.
Unless you don't like it, or
And
don't
very
like me,
successful,
or don't
and
like
he was offered
America,
a lot of
then
money
that's fine.
to sell to a big public company, and he decided to take it. He was a young man. He was in his 40s, and he said, darling, I'm going to take it. Told his wife, I want to take the money. And for 20 years, he went out, he bought a yacht. He lived a beautiful life. He lived in the south of France. But he got bored. And 21, 22 years later, he said, I want to make a comeback. I can't stand this life anymore. I want to make a comeback. And he went to the company that he sold to, a big public company that did very poorly. They had no idea what they were doing. You know, he used to, by the way, he used to pick up every nail, every piece of wood, he used to sell the sawdust, everything. He would say every penny was a major event. And now you had this big public company. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. So he went back and he made him an offer. They didn't want to sell, and he paid a little more. And he ended up buying it for an okay
Got
price.
one more,
And he was
one
so
more,
happy.
guys.
He said, now I can go back to
One
work.
more for me.
And he went back, and everything he touched turned bad. The market turned on him. The jobs turned on him. He was no longer able to get zoning. He was spending a fortune. He had just purchased it for a lot of money. And he ended up going bankrupt. He was bankrupt. And I was young when I met him. And I was at the party of a very big person, big public company person. And Bill Levitt was there. And I was in the real estate business, so I knew who he was. And you probably indirectly know who. And everybody was shunning him a little bit. Nobody cared about him anymore. But I did. And I went over to him, and I say, hi, Mr. Levitt. I'm Donald Trump. I know it. I was doing great. I was sort of like a hot guy. I was hot as a pistol. I think I was hotter than I am now, and I became president, okay? I don't know. I said to somebody,
So
was I
funny.
hotter before or hotter now? I don't know. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares, right? But he knew who I was, and I went up. I said, so, are you okay? And he said, I'm not really okay. I made a mistake that I'll
What
never
the
forget. And he was,
fuck?
by this time, a pretty old guy. And he was
So
sitting in the
funny.
corner of this magnificent Fifth Avenue apartment where there were 25 very successful people. But I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to find out what happened because he lost everything. Everybody knew it. It was very public. And I said, what happened exactly? What happened? He said, son, I lost my momentum. I had something going that couldn't be stopped, and I should have just stayed. I lost my momentum. And I've never forgotten
got the
the
6
term.
likes. Appreciate you
If
guys.
you lose your momentum, you got to figure it out. but Bill Levitt lost his momentum, and he died penniless. And he was the biggest real estate person on the planet. And I've never forgotten that story. And it was a sad story. He was a good man, too. I thought he was a good man, but did an unbelievable job. Today, you have Levittowns all over the country, and pretty amazing. But you have to always keep moving forward. And when it's your time, you have to know it's your time. And I said to myself, in terms of politics, I said, you know what? We did so well in number one. We did even better in number two. I said, we got to do it again because you have to do it. Maybe I'm wrong. And I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it to make America great again. You know, if I didn't think we easily won, I would never do this. Because you know what? In many ways, it's easier. You have a winner, you have a loser. It's okay. I won once. It was a big upset, I guess. I don't know why it was an upset. Because I'd go and I'd have 50,000 people at a rally.
Yes,
She'd go and have
sir.
200 people. And then they say, why did I win Michigan? Why did I win Pennsylvania? Why did I win all these states that a Republican hadn't won in many years? Why? And by the way, we're up in Pennsylvania. We're up in Michigan. We're up in New Hampshire today. We're up in Florida at numbers that you wouldn't even believe. But I also think it's very important to know what you want. You have to set your sights high. Set your sights so high, higher than you ever thought possible, and make your goals big and go after it. That's why
We got 7 people in the chat right now. Let's go. We need one more like then. One more like to match the people.
We want to make New York a lot better, better than it ever was before. Right?
We're going to make
And
New
finally,
York
you have to take
great
pride in your
again.
accomplishments. Do not take for granted what you've achieved. Forget it. It's over. It's good for your confidence, but it's over. Go forward. Think to the future, not to the past, but learn from the past. You know, wherever I go, I know that if I could build a skyscraper in Manhattan, I could do anything. It's very tough. Building a 68-story building on Fifth Avenue is hard. With all you have to deal with, I mean, you have unions, you have legal entanglements, property rights, zoning. You're dealing with the smartest and toughest contractors in the world. These are killers. Many of you are here today. Thank you very much. But by comparison, talking to world leaders, I believe, is easier. And I've done them both. Talking to a world leader, if you're smart, you know, you have the United States behind you. Now, the country's not the same, but it'll be better and stronger and bigger in a very short period of time. You know, we have so many different things we could discuss having to do with the Republican Party. But the biggest thing, I think, and I really mean this, and it's happening more and more, and I see it all the time, because really you have to be the party of common sense as opposed to the Democrat Party. It's a party of failure, extremism, and gross incompetence, and that's what it is.
Seriously.
And they're going to destroy our country.
More
But
than
our
that.
country has faced down much harder challenges before and come back stronger than ever. That's why I so firmly believe that we can quickly make America a great and glorious nation again. When I take office, we are going to restore public safety and the rule of law in New York City. That starts with stopping the pouring into our country of millions and millions of illegal immigrants, which are causing a new category of violence called migrant crime. We have a migrant crime happening now. You add that to the crime already. A terrible statistic. Venezuela was a very crime-ridden country.
Yes.
They just announced a month ago, 67, but now they just announced 72% reduction in crime in Venezuela.
Yeah.
In Caracas, they took their gang members, they took their drug dealers, they are emptying out their prisons. They're taking everybody that's a problem and they're dumping them into the United States of America. We're like a dumping ground.
Seriously.
But many countries are doing that. I would say eventually all countries would be doing that. If I headed up Honduras, if I headed up any one of the countries that are neighboring or not neighboring, and we're not talking about just South America countries. We're talking about countries from Africa. The other day, 22, think of it, 22 people from the Congo. Where do you live? We came from jail. What did you do in jail? We don't want to tell you. They're now living happily. They come from Africa. They come from Asia. They come from all over the world. They come from the Middle East. Yemen. We're bombing Yemen. Here we go with the bombs again. We're bombing Yemen. and people are coming in from Yemen. Large numbers of people are coming in from China. And if you look at these people, did you see them? They are physically fit. They're 19 to 25. Almost everyone is a male. And they look like fighting age. I think they're building an army. They had 29,000 people over the last. I think they want to get us from within. I think they're building an army. This is not, it's interesting. Did you see them? They all have tents. They all have gas-fired stoves. I mean, this is not like an illegal immigrant. They're building something. They have something in mind. We're going to end all of that stuff. They respected your president. They respected our country. And we're not going to we are not going to let these people come in and take our city away from us and take our country away from us. It's not going to happen. Now, who would let people, seriously, who would let people come from prisons and jails, from mental institutions? They cannot stay. We will immediately begin the largest criminal deportation operation in our country's history because this situation is sustainable by no country. No country can sustain this. As we speak, there are hundreds of thousands of Biden migrants invading our city and our country. We no longer have border states like Texas and Arizona. All states, including New York, are your border state. The people are pouring through Texas. They're pouring through Arizona. They're pouring through every state. Every state is now a border state. Every state is now, we're talking about, in my opinion, 16 to 17 million people. And these are not necessarily people that are going to help us as a country. We want to be nice. We want to be respectful. They're coming from so many places we don't have any idea. In many cases, we don't even know what the language. You have languages that people don't even know about. We have languages where there's nobody in our country that speaks these languages. They're coming from places we have no idea what's happening with our country. The flood of migrants is putting crippling burdens on our communities, your schools.
Let's go Bird 2028. All right, we'll let Trump get 2024. We'll let him get this year. We'll start getting in, you know what I mean? We'll get our foot in the door. We'll start getting our stuff in order, and we're going to take it back.
Hospitals, parks, and public resources. Frankly, we're lucky to get this big park. I don't know how the hell we did it. It must be New York's finest. I don't know how we did it. They call it the Biden migrant invasion, and it's wrong. It's immoral. And the vast majority of New Yorkers agree with me that this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. We must stop it. We must stop it immediately. And for the people coming up, it's also unacceptable. They come up in what's called caravans. The women are treated horribly. They're being raped at levels that nobody's ever seen before. Nobody wants to talk about it. The fake news will report that, oh, it's so terrible what he said. But it's fact. It's fact. The people are being treated. They're coming up in 100 degrees, and then it's freezing. They're coming through snake-infested areas. It's a hell of a journey, and so many people are dying coming up. If we told them, please do not come up, you're not going to come in, like I was telling them for a long period of time, they wouldn't come. They're being offered. Look at California Governor Newsom. Governor Newsom. He offers education.
He had to double down on it. No. Freaking damn.
He offers medical care. He offers pensions.
Oh
he offers
my
everything.
God,
He'll
that
even
is
give them an electric car
new
because they're all
scum.
over the place. How about the electric mandate? You like the all-electric mandate? Not too much. Huh?
I don't want to break my
Does
shit.
anybody like a car that doesn't go very far? Costs a lot. In Brooklyn, American students at James Madison High School were recently told they had to stay at home from school so their classrooms could
Put
be
a
turned
B on
into
the end,
housing
Tyler.
for
Like his real
thousands of-
name.
Right?
Newscom.
Thousands of migrants. Very simply, Joe Biden puts illegal aliens first. I put America first. I put America first.
That's it.
Would anybody, now this is up to you, has anybody heard the snake?
That might be another shirt, too.
Would anybody like to
Dude,
hear
he might
the
have gave me
snake?
3 new shirt ideas right here.
Because we can stay here all night, I don't care. Would you like to hear the snake? So it's a metaphor. It's an old song, and it was redone. It didn't have anything to do with snakes or people or illegal immigration, but this has to do with illegal immigration. And I think it's very accurate, actually, and it's very sad. But I'll go and we'll do it, and some of you have heard it, and many of you haven't. But we're going to do it right now for the great people of the Bronx and elsewhere. We love the Bronx. We love the Bronx. Are you ready? On her work, and you know what? You know what this is all about, right? Did you know? You've heard this before? Have you heard it? We got the greatest people here. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor half-frozen snake. His pretty colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Poor thing, he said, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, oh tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, oh tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a comforter of silk and laid him by the fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work that night, and soon as she arrived, she found the pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. Take me in, oh tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, oh tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. She clutched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. But if I hadn't brought you in by now, you truly would have died. She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, ma'am, the snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, oh tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, oh tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bitten me, but why?
I love it. It's always so funny every time he says it.
I'm going to die. Shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
We have a snake in office right now.
So when we allow people from prisons, when we allow people from insane asylums and mental institutions, which are being emptied out all over the world, you know, their prison populations are going way down. You know why? Because they're being dumped into the United States. When we are allowing terrorists at numbers that we've never seen before, remember the snake. Remember the snake. Because you're going to get bitten like you never got bitten before, and you need a new president, and you have to get rid of this person who is not a smart person, not a respected person, and doesn't have a clue what the hell is happening. So, that's the snake. Did you enjoy the snake? On day one, I will seal the border, and I will stop the invasion of our country. Very sadly, in recent years, we have also seen our city destroyed by bad, radical left, pro-crime policy that virtually everyone, Republican, Democrat, Independent, everyone, you all know it's a disaster. You know the names of these lunatic policies. No cash bail. Somebody kills somebody. Go out. No bail. Don't worry. Go out and kill a couple of more people. Defund our great police. Defund the police. Sanctuary cities. Release violent repeat offenders from jail. Joe Biden supports all of this insanity and much more, but millions of people across New York know it's crazy. There is no way when you watch this guy get off an airplane, he doesn't even have to talk.
I love it.
When he falls out of a helicopter, he's got 3 legs.
When he falls out of a
helicopter, got 2
helicopter.
railings. You don't fall out of helicopters. You don't fall upstairs. He falls up. He has more trouble going up than he does coming down. That's a little sick. But you're just not going to vote for him. You just not. We got to win. If we just win the state, it just puts it right. It's such a big state. It puts it to bed. You're going to have a president and people, but you're going to have a president that understands what we have to do. We have to be nice about it, but we have to do things. and we're going to be done. And the world is going to respect us again. We were never so respected as we were 4 years ago. President Xi of China, Putin, Viktor Orban, did you ever hear of him? Prime Minister of Hungary. Very tough guy, known as a strong man. Oh, they hate it when I talk about him because they say he's a strong man. Trump loves strong men. I don't know. I like weak men, actually. I like weak men. I'd much rather have a weak man than a strong man. But he is a strong man. And they asked him, why is it that the whole world is blowing up? He said, one simple reason, Trump is not president in the United States. He said, you put Trump back as president and the whole world is going to get better, because they were afraid of Trump. They couldn't figure Trump out. Trump was a rather difficult person. But he used the word afraid. I don't use it. I don't use afraid. I use the word respect. They respected your president. They respected the United States of America. And they're going to do it again, and it's going to happen fast. But we have to get this absolute disaster. The worst president in history. He makes Jimmy Carter look like he had a brilliant administration. The only thing, the only happy person about Joe Biden is Jimmy Carter, because Jimmy looks brilliant by comparison. I also want to thank New York's finest. I grew up with them. I know them. I love them. I love our firemen. I love our teachers. These are incredible people, and we have to bring the word respect and honor back to them right where it belongs.
Hilarious.
A few weeks ago, I visited with a grieving family, New York police officer Jonathan Dillon. What a beautiful family. He was a beautiful person. He was 31 years old, gunned down during a traffic stop by a vicious thug, and just horrible, leaving his beautiful young wife behind, a son, Ryan, behind, 1-year-old son. And it was the saddest day. It was a horrible thing. Opened the door and just started shooting him. The criminal charge was savagely murdering Officer Dillon, was previously arrested by the NYPD 21 times. And he was allowed to go out because of the political things they do here. I'm the only one they want to keep. If I ever said, I want no bail, they'd say, you got to pay a fortune. If I ever say, oh, no cash bail, that sounds good, that sounds good. No, it doesn't apply to Trump. I'm the only one it doesn't apply to, probably. And the accomplice driving the car had been arrested 14 times and was actually a far more violent person. And his nickname was Killer. They called him Killer. These dangerous and violent repeat offenders should never have been on our streets. Jonathan should be alive today, but they were released again and again and again. I will not sit by and accept this reckless insanity when I am in the White House. I will stand up to the Marxist DAs and Soros prosecutors, and we will tell them no more. We're not going to stand for it. We will not let them destroy our communities. We will not let them destroy our country. There's a 53% increase in felony assaults on your subways. 53%. That's in a short period of time. Since 2019, murders are up more than 20%. Shootings are up more than 30%. I'm going to indemnify all police officers and law enforcement officials throughout the United States to protect them from being destroyed by the radical left.
I'm not there yet.
Strong actions on crime. And remember, black, Hispanic, Asian people need this protection and safety more than anyone else. Don't ever forget it. And after years of talk by the radical left Democrats, we are going to give them the protection they need, and we're going to protect our police. We're going to make sure they do a great job. They can do it very quickly. They know who the bad guys are. They know everything about them. They know their name. They know their middle initial. We're going to insist that if a violent criminal murders a police officer, they receive the death penalty. It's going to be quick. And I also want to work with your mayor and your governor, happen to be Democrats, to clean up the homeless encampments so that you can once again enjoy your parks and your public spaces. Right now, you don't have public spaces. They're occupied by migrants in tents. Pleasures as simple as a walk in the park or watching your children again play in a Little League game will come roaring back, and they're going to come back very quickly. Your lifestyle and the American dream will be with you once again, and we're going to bring it back, the American dream. You don't have an American dream right now. You will be proud, and
the only American dream right now is to just survive.
Your children and your country will be even prouder of you. Years ago, people with severe mental illness were in mental institutions, and then a certain governor, I won't mention the name because at this point, what difference, they dumped all of them into the streets because they said those institutions were too expensive to run. So now they live on our streets, and that's what we have. This is no good for anybody. It's bad for the people who need help, and it's bad for the people of our city, and it's a horrible, horrible way to live. I want to work in partnership with your local leaders, Democrats, pretty much all, and move the severely mentally ill off your streets and back into a place where they can get help and the help that they desperately need. I want to recognize, by the way, a few very special people. You have some really great people here, and I'm sorry I can't mention all. We have congressmen all over the place, but I just can't mention you today. You're never going to speak to me, but would anybody like to hear these congressmen's names? But I do have to mention a few people. We're truly honored to be joined by a man who is a Democrat and a former member of the New York City Council, and he's been a friend of mine, and he helped me very much with the Ferry Point project and getting it working, and did a really good job. Ruben Diaz Sr. Come on up, Ruben. Good. Good. You look beautiful.
I put my key on your key ring. What is your spare one?
Above my refrigerator.
Mr. President, I am a Puerto Rican, a black Puerto Rican. I used to be a state senator for 15 years. And I used to be a city council member. Today I'm here for various reasons. But I want to tell you first that as a Puerto Rican, as a Hispanic, I want to apologize to you for the conduct of Judge Juan Merchan. As a Hispanic, I want to apologize.
Thank you.
He's been used. He has been used to destroy you. But we know better than that. We know better than that. As a minister, president of the New York Hispanic Clergy Organization, I want to tell AOC
Boo!
This morning, she intended to become a prophet. And she said, even God doesn't want Trump in the Bronx because it's going to rain. Madam Prophet AOC, you have become a false prophet.
Yes, AOC, the false prophet, I agree.
Look at what a beautiful day. That means that not only you guys want Trump in the Bronx, because if we're going to measure that for the weather, then I would say humbly that even God wants you in the Bronx. And I want to close by saying, Mr. President, I want to join you in having the Bronx great again. Please accept this Democrat, this black Puerto Rican with a kinky hair and a broken English. Please accept my endorsement for you as a president. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Beautiful job. Thank you.
I don't care. You don't see things like this going on with Joe Biden ever. Facts, Tyler.
Thank you very much. How nice was that? I didn't expect that. Really? That was beautiful. You know, it's always dangerous to do that. You never know what's going to come out. Maybe he'll change his mind coming up, but he doesn't change his mind. That man is a winner. He's a winner and a great man. Thank you very much, Ruben. Also with us is New York native and current U.S. Congressman. He's hot as a pistol. Oh, boy, he has a future. And he's a great friend of mine, Byron Donalds. Come up, please, Byron.
I thought Byron Donalds came out earlier.
Give him hell.
Oh, wow. Mr. President, there's more of
his
him here
name's
now than when I
Sleepy
was
Hollow.
up about an hour and a half ago.
Dad, let me call you back when I'm done streaming.
If there's one thing we know,
All right.
is that this
Love you.
man
Bye.
was one of the best presidents this country has ever had. And if there's another thing that we know, is that all of you are going to
Byron.
make him the 47th president of the United States.
Possibly.
I want to go out. They have to go party.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Good night.
Thank you, Byron. Great. What a good future. Here as well as rapper Chef G. Does everybody know Chef? Where is Chef G? Where is he? Come on up, fellas. Rapper Sleepy Hollow.
Oh my God, I love it. This is hilarious.
Come on up here, fellas. How are you, man? Hey. Oh, I like that. I want to get that done.
One thing I want to say. They always gonna whisper your accomplishments and shout your failures. Trump gonna shout the wins for all of us. Make America great again.
Thank you, fellas. Appreciate you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you very much. That's where I like those teeth. I want to find out where you did. I got to get my teeth like that. I want that to happen to me. Somebody with a fantastic future in the Republican Party and beyond. Gavin Wax, thank you. Young Republicans, Gavin.
Oh my
whoever you are.
God, Trump's
Thank you,
gonna get a
Gavin.
grill.
Adam Solis of New York, Young Republicans, who's been fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good
I'm
job
dead,
you're doing.
Tyler.
Madeline Brame of Blacksit. Thank you, Madeline.
I'm surprised.
Thank you very
That's
much.
Sleepy Hollow, right?
Somebody that's a real star in politics and done an incredible job and so popular in Nassau County. The county executive, Nassau County, Bruce Blakeman. Come up, Bruce, for a second. Come up, Bruce. Where is Bruce? We got to get Bruce. Where is he? That's a long way to come up to hell with Bruce, right? Come on up, Bruce. Come on. This guy is central casting. If I'm doing a movie on a politician, this is the guy I have playing. Come on. That's great.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Both my parents were World War II veterans. Not many people can say about that. They would be shocked and appalled by what's going on in this foreign invasion from our southern border. Nassau County is not a sanctuary county, and when Donald Trump gets reelected, this will not be a sanctuary country. God bless America.
Let's go.
Good man. Good man. Thank you very much, guys. National Committeeman and Chairman Joe Cairo. Joe, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. And Andrew, thank you very much for being here, star of the future. I heard you made a good speech. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody. We have so many people out there, but we're going to finish this up. This has been, I didn't know. I woke up, I said, I wonder, will it be hostile or will it be friendly? It was beyond friendly. It was a love fest. From the very first day that we take back the White House, I believe we are going to have the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. We're going to restore peace through strength. We're going to keep radical Islamic terrorists out of our country. We're going to protect our great seniors, and I will never let anyone touch your Medicare or your Social Security. Under the Democrat program, they will be gone. We are going to restore free speech in America. We are going to fight for your right to school choice, something you all want. And I will not allow schools to impose COVID vaccine mandates or mask mandates.
Fuck, the school's nowhere.
We are going to get far-left Marxist lunacy out of our children's classrooms. We're going to keep men out of women's sports. And we will, once and for all, secure our elections. But all of this, saving New York and saving America, starts with telling crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in history, you're fired, like the apprentice. You're fired. Get out. You were terrible. You're destroying our country, Joe. Get out. If you want to help, you must vote. I believe that we can win New York State. We have levels of support that nobody's seen before. I mean, look at this. So register, volunteer, turn out everyone you know. Don't assume it doesn't matter just because you live in a blue city. You live in a blue city, but it's going red very, very quickly.
Let's get it.
We must work together as a team to win. New York has always been the home of proud patriots like you. You are proud patriots. You love this. You love this city, you love this state, and you love our country. New York was the city loved by Teddy Roosevelt, Norman Rockwell, the great Flo Ziegfeld, General Douglas MacArthur, George Gershwin, Frank Sinatra, and in baseball alone, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, Jackie Robinson, and many, many others. It's the city where workers and skilled craftsmen strode across steel beams 80 stories high to build the great Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building and all of the others. It's the city that lit up the shining lights of Broadway, that turned Times Square from a seedy, dirty, long-forgotten area into one of the greatest crossroads of light and glamour anywhere in the world. It's a city that produced generations of everyday American heroes who willingly spilled their blood and gave everything they had to make America into the greatest nation in the history of the world. Above all, this is the place that every one of us here today has been proud to call our home, our town, our city. And we are the ones who are going to make our city great again. It was hard-working patriots like you who built this city, and it is hard-working patriots, and this is something you can say it, and you can say it 1,000,000 times, and you can emblazon it. It's hard-working patriots like you who are going to save our country. You are going to save our country. We're going to get out and vote like never before. We're going to make it too big to rig. Our vote is going to be too big to rig. So one thing they can't guard against, working together, there is nothing we cannot do and no height we cannot achieve. Together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America great again. Thank you, Bronx. Thank you, New York. We love you. Thank you. God bless everybody.
Let's go. That was beautiful. All right, we're leaving it at that. Good stuff. What'd you guys think? What is that? Yes, sir. What's up, David? How you doing, brother? I wonder what CNN has to say about it. Oh, it's about the Diddy shit. Nothing? Nothing yet about Trump? I seen they started arguing with Ted Cruz the other day. Why Kami thinks Trump's trial was wanton conviction. In case of Turner and a double bag, here's why. Nice, dude. My dude, somebody said, was it you that said you got a Kamala Harris head? Yeah, that's crazy. Now you got a Trump one. That's so weird. Let's see.
Everyone deserves the fastest, most reliable internet.
All right. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump is set to make a stop in the South Bronx tonight at 6 o'clock, right on the doorstep of AOC's district, where no Republican presidential candidate has won that district in 100 years.
Thousands of supporters are expected to turn out as a new Siena poll has the former president now within single digits of President Biden in the Empire State.
Left-wing demonstrations are already being planned to try and counter the former president's visit.
Hopefully,
like that
David,
poster that you see
sheesh.
right there.
The fact that it's still that so much far, oh my gosh.
Seen circulating on social media, claiming that Trump is, quote, not welcome in the Bronx.
Well, somebody who is welcome in the Bronx is Rachel Campos Duffy. You know her from the Weekend Show, and she was out in the Bronx yesterday, just essentially taking the temperature of the neighborhood to see how people are going to receive former president.
Absolutely. I stood on a corner, walked up and down a street with our crew, and just talked to dozens of people.
Is it similar to Wisconsin, where you came from?
I'm an Arizona girl originally.
Okay,
so,
good.
You know. Listen, here's what was interesting. I mean, there's no question that the Bronx is a solidly blue area. But when things get bad, people are more loyal to their neighborhood. They're more loyal to their family. And that's what the sense that I got. There's also a pride in the Bronx, you know. I know AOC said, you know, Donald Trump, you know, it's an embarrassment that he has to go to the Bronx, you know. These people took that offensively. Right. They're happy he's coming down. They want him to see what's going on. They want him to get a temperature. And that's the thing. You're seeing these polls that show Hispanics and African Americans moving towards Trump. It just feels like data.
Right.
You go into this, you go there, you actually talk to the people. It really brings it home. You really feel that the polls are right. And I think Donald Trump is going to be very pleasantly surprised by how welcomed he is in the South Bronx. Take a look.
It's all ridiculous now, David.
I see Democrats now coming out, and they're like, oh, Trump is not welcomed here. Who are you?
I think he should definitely come to the neighborhood.
He should come. He should check out the people because, see, Trump is for the little man.
Donald Trump is coming to the Bronx. Are the other boroughs going to be jealous?
I don't know, but I hope so. Trump is doing something that no one else has done.
That's the dude that just spoke at the Trump rally.
Giving such a respect to the Bronx.
Before Trump, you know, it was not really considered. Like, would they really go into the Democratic strongholds? Would they really go into the poor neighborhoods?
One of the very important things that I wish the Republicans would understand is that even though you have, and you look at the registers and you see how many registered Democrats are in the Bronx, and you say 80, 90% are all Democrats, not all Democrats vote Democrat. I happen to be one of those Democrats that hasn't voted Democrat since the age of Ronald Reagan.
I've been intrigued by the impact of
Then
the
you're
trial
not a
of Donald Trump.
Democrat.
And as a Hispanic myself, it looks familiar to a lot of things we've seen in Latin America.
Absolutely. I know a lot of friends of mine that are Cuban,
and they're frustrated.
Yeah.
Cubans, you got Nicaraguans, they see this in their country. That's why they left.
I happen to be one that I'm still asking, what is he being charged with? What is he being charged with? I'm still trying to figure that out. And so I think it's not just me, because, you know, we're not dummies, okay? Even though Democrats sometimes treat us like we're dummies.
People that weren't interested in politics, now they're watching a sham trial. They're watching all these things happen, and they're just like, what is going on?
That is good. Rachel, I know a number of New Yorkers appreciate Donald Trump because he's a New Yorker. And even though he now lives in Florida. But he understands what it's like to be in New York City.
Yeah, they feel like he's one of them. And he chose their area, their neighborhood, to come visit. And, you know, you see all the organizers out there putting up posters saying, "You're not welcome here, Donald Trump." I did not get 1 ounce of that from when I was down there. I was literally shocked by how open-armed they are. And by the way, some of these people mentioned the trial. The trial, I think, is a double-edged sword for the Democrats, especially with Hispanics. It's like, you know, you have them trapped here in this kangaroo court. Guess what?
It's an icebox.
Yeah, some of them are noticing that it's a kangaroo court. And if you're from Latin America, you've seen the politicization, the weaponization of the justice system against opponents in this way. You left those countries because of that kind of corruption and Marxism, frankly, and they're seeing it happen here, and they're not dumb. I know maybe a lot of Democrats think that this is, that they're setting some sort of narrative here. People are seeing, as she said, we can't even figure out what he's guilty of. And then they said to me, he's on trial there. We got problems here. We've got crime like we've never seen before, and it's because of the open border, which was another shock to me, is how much the border policies were mentioned almost universally by everybody.
We got about 82,000 people here illegally. We are housing and we're feeding. Yeah. We're trying to kick them out after 30, 60 days, and they're not leaving.
Well, they're not on the Upper East Side.
Right.
They're going to the Bronx.
Right, and they're taking over the parks where their kids play.
That's exactly right.
Crazy.
And that's what they said. They said, you know, our service, we're poor. This is a working class, poor neighborhood, and our service.
So if people are wondering why Donald Trump decided to do the Bronx of all places, that's the answer right there. All the illegal immigrants are being sent to these neighborhoods in New York because that's where they're going, because unfortunately they are a sanctuary city. So they're being transported to the places of the mayors who asked for it. You know what I mean? So Donald Trump's basically there to show them, like, hey, now you understand what's going on. So, you know, now it's time to really pay attention on who you should really be voting for in order of who has the best interest for you as a community, I guess, you know, so.
Are being strained, or they're literally cutting our own services and giving it to other people who came here illegally. So that was really an interesting thing. And they're associating the rise in crime to Alvin Bragg, but also to many of the illegals.
Let's see if the president keeps it short and crisp tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be very interesting to see how he does it.
6 o'clock tonight. It's in a park in the Bronx called Crotona Park. Lawrence is going to go up there. He's interviewing the former president.
You know what they told me? Some of them said it's epic that he's coming. Others said es épico. So they, you know, in Spanish and English, they're saying this is historic. Thank you for coming to our district, to our area.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, David. I appreciate you, bro.
Thing to see
Thank
today, and it will be great if Lawrence actually, gets a chance to interview some of these counter protesters to see if they're AstroTurf. Because what I saw was if they're from the Bronx, they're open. They're open eared, open armed right now.
And we put
without a doubt. I don't know. Stuff's getting a little bit crazy. What? Oh, that's just Ice Cube and Dove C, no Mac 10.
Sir, do you think Trump is innocent? You know what? I think they're trying to throw everything at him they could because they're afraid of him.
Yes, sir.
They are afraid of that man because he said, when I get back in there, you guys are screwed.
I'm going to tell the truth on you. Have a good day, sir. Yeah. For you.
Sir,
Do you think...
Have you ever watched a CNN host hold back tears and say, Trump was right? Watch this.
Glenn Kessler from the Washington Post had a fact check about Joe Biden from earlier this month.
Is it really? I'm gonna have to
Noting
check it
that
out.
Hunter Biden admitted in court in
I didn't
July
play this season at all.
that he was in fact paid substantial sums from Chinese companies. Kessler wrote, Hunter Biden reported nearly $2.4 million in income in 2017 and $2.2 million in income in 2018, most of which came from Chinese or Ukrainian interests. But this directly goes against what Joe Biden said in the debate in 2020 with Donald Trump. Take a listen.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about what are you talking about? China.
Once you
None of
became
that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
So it's from two different debates, but I mean, Trump was right.
Have you ever watched a CNN host hold back tears?
Oh, this is mine. I did this last night.
Oh my god.
Cover me well, please. Right there,
Right here.
Dude, I missed that throwing knife. So annoying. I got so lucky though that they didn't push, because I was able to play it all the way up and reload.
I'm not resable, Bird. Just do your thing.
He might got him. Oh. Oh shit! Dude, I love it. So, what did you guys think of the rally? I liked it. I liked what he had to say, you know. He didn't go overboard with anything. It's funny that he brought out that dude Sleepy Hollow. I didn't even know who he was. Mhm. Dude, they got that many, and I did a video on it. Oh, they got 866,000 views. Oh, this is another one. Video. Cracked him? What? Knocked him through the wall? Oh my god. That was good though. That was a good one. You guys like Adam Ray? He does this great Dr. Phil. It's so funny.
It's just like completely abstract. Yeah.
It's such a cool video here. This is the video of Trump walking in. So you assume that he's like walking in on these red carpets and with this on this vaulted manner. No, man, this is a man of the people.
That was pretty cool. That was awesome. All right, everybody. On that note, we're gonna end it. I really do appreciate you all stopping by and hanging out tonight. We'll try and do a little bit more live streams, especially now that it's getting, closer to election season. But I'll see you guys later. Have a good evening. Peace.